UFANA funds. And then the most recent development is the Islamic ETFs, and UM Financial with Javelin Investment have announced the S&P TSX 60 Sharia fund. There's the the Javelin funds, which is not entirely Islamic. They're working on a different fund, but they launched a Dow Jones International Islamic Fund, and then Florentez Investment Management out of California recently received exemptive relief from the Securities and Exchange Commission to launch their Sharia shares family of Islamic ETFs. And then, yeah, the Sukuk market has been fairly small. There's been only a few, although there are anticipated to be several more in the future. And with that, I'll pass it to Majid.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I'd like to thank Shahzad for the kind words of introduction. And also thanks to UFANA, UM Financial, and Omar Clare personally for inviting me to speak. I think I should also mention that Shahzad mentioned that I was in my stomping grounds of Cambridge, Massachusetts last weekend, but not many of you may know, I'm on my stomping grounds of Toronto, Ontario, where I lived for almost 2 years as well. You've heard some expert comments from my colleagues on the panel here, and I think the question is about the Islamic Finance in North America report that Yasaar Media published in 2009. Why Yasaar Media? The idea came to us through a gentleman by the name of Paul McNamara, who's very established in the media field. He was managing editor of the Islamic Business and Finance magazine. And about beginning of last year, we established Yasaar Media to actually provide what we feel is necessary and needed a journal to address the issues that face the industry today. We've been very fortunate, and I've been warned to not let it go to Blake's head, that it's been a tremendous reception for this report. We've had a lot of comments, a lot of feedback, and we've been encouraged. And because of that encouragement, I think we did the North American report was our first report, which Blake was involved with. We since then have published Islamic Investment Banking Report 2009, Islamic Private Wealth 2009. We're hoping to do those and keep the industry updated with what's going on. We have also launched a new journal recently called So Far, which will address a issue that's confronting the Islamic finance and challenges it, to have a debate between industry players. These are actual people on the ground who actually physically deal with it, and with no respect to the good doctor, not academia. This is because the challenges that are faced on a day-to-day basis by the practitioners in the field need to be addressed and aired, and they can all share their own experiences. I'm hoping that we will continue to provide these elements of addressing these issues, and the desire for Yasaar Limited to get into the Sharia advisory field started 10 years ago. Last year, as I said, we launched Yasaar Media, and the idea is for Yasaar to be not a Sharia advisory firm necessarily, but an Islamic finance advisory. So that's why last summer we launched Yasaar Human Capital to address the recruitment requirements of the industry. And we're hoping to do a couple more divisions this year, but that depends on the crisis and how that pans out, because everybody at the moment is quietly sitting on their hands and not making the decisions. And to go back to some degree to what the good doctor mentioned about liquidity in the GCC, I'm sure he's well aware, but I'll mention it anyway, that at the price of $40 a barrel, that's it. They will use that locally, and can we absorb that for their own infrastructure developments? Anything over $40, it's out in the world. There's a lot of potential to invest those funds. The other thing here is in Canada, we've got the issues such as natural resources, which in themselves lend them very, very well to Sharia compliant, as long as the structure is right and there's no extreme leverage or debt trading aspects of those things. The other thing is, of course, the real estate here is quite good. And of course, when you think about the real estate, majority of it is government owned. So there's a huge sort of quasi-government, almost semi-sovereign aspect to it, which also will appeal to the ratings of those kind of products. I saw something before, and I saw it again recently, is a postcard about Canada. And it lists all the things that you work for and do things, and it ends up with the line, there's only 2 people working in Canada, you and me, but I think there's a lot of you and me here. So let's hope to make this a successful story. Thank you.
We have time for one question. I know people probably have quite a few, but you can certainly ask those privately. So unless there was anything from the panel or from the audience, we can move on to the next session. Yes, sir. If you could come to the microphone, introduce yourself, and then ask your question.
Hello. Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Majid Mirza. We were part of the RBC challenge, in which we proposed an interest-free model for student loans. So we reached the finals and we presented to the executives of RBC last year during my master's at Waterloo. I had a question. I'm sorry I didn't get your name. I walked in a bit late. But for the professor, I was wondering, what is the objective of the courses or the academic curriculum exactly? Is it to prepare people for as professionals, or is it more for the academic sector to teach Islamic finance and theoretical?
It's for the former, so it's really to prepare people, and we're still in the design phase, but the idea would be to have, at this stage, would be to have 2 tracks of training. One would be for mid to senior managers, to give them an understanding of what Islamic finance is, and what the core principles are, and what does it mean to be Sharia compliant, and so on. And another track, which would be much more in-depth, which would allow people to actually go out and do a deal. What does it take to actually go out and do a deal? That may or may not lead to a certification. We don't know. I should add as well that what I'm talking about now is a certificate program. It's not part of a degree program. But having said that, the Rotman School has given preliminary approval to have elective courses in the MBA. So students in the MBA program at the Rotman School will be able to take 1 or 2 courses in Islamic finance as part of their degree.
Is it okay if I just follow up with that a little bit?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
So one of the things that we've been discussing is where do people who are trained in Islamic finance or certified, where do they go actually? Because one of the things that happens with new emerging industries is that you're training people and then they get demotivated because no one cares and no one has the resources to hire them. So are you working with people in the industry as well for a co-op structure or anything like that so that they can actually utilize that knowledge?
I would like to recruit you to be on my advisory board. That's excellent, and one of the challenges we have is exactly that, the chicken and the egg phenomenon, the idea being that if we go and train these people and there are no jobs for them, then it's for nothing. And so the whole idea is we are working with Canada's leading organizations, the banks, several ministries in the government, the law firms. I see Gowling's law firm is here. We'll be talking to Gowling's, to Bennett Jones, to Deloitte, and so on. And the whole idea is the following, is that by engaging with these organizations and getting these organizations to buy into the vision, then when we put people through this program, the idea will be there will be co-op positions in these organizations, but better, these organizations will commit to entertaining seriously the possibility of hiring someone that's gone through one of these programs. So we're addressing your point directly, and I want to talk to you because that's a good idea, and I want to hire you to be on the advisory board.
Really appreciate the fact that you're doing this work. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I suppose we're here about connecting people, so that was a very good question about human resources. Thank you, gentlemen.